Welcome everybody to Beat the Shift Baseball. This is episode 112 for Wednesday, July 7th. I'm Alex Uwe. I'm here today with everybody, Farbod Markazi, Ray Estrada, Alex Roude. We have a great show ahead of you today. We have all the All-Star selections in pretty fresh, so we're going to get our takes on everybody that's in there, any snubs that we have, all of that. And of course, we have to talk about the absolute tear Shohei Ohtani's been on. We'll get to that. And the Yankees. We're gonna play all the hits today. We're talking Shohei, we're talking Yankees, and just how worried are we about them the rest of the year. So all of that to come. Before we get started here, I just want to remind everybody to follow us at Beat the Shift BP on any social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. That's the best way to let us know what you think. Let us know what you want us to talk about, or just say hi there. So at Beat the Shift BP again. All right, enough of that. Let's get into it. Fellas, how are we doing today?
Doing pretty good. Twitter sounds interesting. What kind of platform is that, Uwe?
Wait, what? Did I do something? What did I do?
You said you called Twitter Twinner.
Twinner?
It's in my
Dude,
ears. That's what I heard.
All right, it's 1:00 in the morning for me right now, so I'm gonna I have to play that card early. I was gonna save that one for later, but you forced my hand right away. It's staying in. Got it? All right, follow us on Twitter. There you go. No, we're here. We've had a little bit of a break since our last one. I've been away. Ray was away for a while there. Farbod starting a new job starting all around. A lot's happening, but we're still here.
And Rudy's just hanging out.
We're gonna catch up. And Rudy's hanging out. not to say it like that. Rudy's on the new job. Rudy's on a new job grind as well. I don't mean to leave Rudy out of it. No sir. But yeah, this is what we've been doing. We're gonna keep doing it. So yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna defer a lot of the talking to you guys tonight. As you can tell, I'm already kind of trailing off at random points here. Let's start with the All-Star game and the All-Star selections that are in the voting situation this year, which is something that I didn't really even think about being different and being a little bit odd, but I guess it was, where they had the online voting that they've always had, and then they've had, from that point, it reduced to like a final 3 fan voting for the starters, and then a pretty similar like selection committee for the rest of the reserves and whatnot. And
can I be honest?
Yeah,
I totally forgot to vote this year. Did you guys even vote? Do you guys vote? It did not cross my mind at all.
I voted. I'm a good MLB citizen.
Yeah, good MLB, doing your civic duty in voting for the MLB All-Star Game. I did, but it's always so long ago, because if you're one of those people that just does it when All-Star voting starts, like, you can vote more than once, I'm pretty sure. You can vote a lot, I think. But
I believe phase 1 was 5 times a day.
Yeah, that's a lot of voting. I did not vote that much. I'm not that good of a civilian? That's the word.
Citizen?
Is this how Royals fans got Omar Infante into the starting lineup?
So the Royals fans are the only ones
pretty much,
that understand the voting rules.
Well, they're the only ones that can actually come together as a fan base to do that.
It's our own fault. Just nobody else knows how it worked. Yeah, so that was a weird thing that happened, and I remember there being a lot of discussion. Now that the full rosters are released, things are a little bit more normalized, but upon seeing some of the top 3 fan voting at certain positions, it's gonna look a little bit off, because fans are dumb, generally speaking. No offense, fans. It's present company included, mind you. But
hey,
I mean,
smarter than the average fan.
Yeah, I think
is that
overall
already
we did
somebody's
okay.
tagline or something like that? I think that's a slogan somewhere.
Do we want that one? We can claim that one. But yeah, basically, I don't know how do we want to do this? Should I just go through all-star rosters? But do you want to go by position, or is there anywhere in particular we should
I mean,
start?
we're looking at it. We can just have a conversation. Notable players who made it. Players you're happy that made it. Players you're surprised that made it. Nubs, whatever.
Okay, well, I like that idea of starting with notable players that made it. Nobody more notable than Shohei Ohtani, who you can't turn
Because the
on
first
any sports station, you can't have any baseball conversation without hearing his name because he's doing something nobody's done before. The conversation had shifted from doing something that nobody's done for 100 years since Babe Ruth, pitching and hitting and having success doing both, and now he's kind of surpassing that point, and it's unbelievable, man. Let's hear from the Angels fan. Let's hear from Farbod about the reactions to all of this as it unfolds.
I mean, this is the first time in MLB history that a player was named an All-Star as both a position player and pitcher. So I mean, I appreciate you deferring it to the Angels fan, but although that I watch my team every night and I get to watch every Shohei Ohtani bat or every pitch he throws, he's on in every station, like you said, around the country. There's some players that people like to say they're making national headlines or they're like the big thing right now. But in my job, I get to watch like random broadcasts that's like maybe it's like just the Blue Jays and like the Nationals playing, and there's no they would be talking about Shohei Ohtani, and all of a sudden they put up a bug of Ohtani stats and just have a full blown like inning long conversation about Shohei. Like this guy is generational. I don't even know if generational is the right word for it because first time ever that a player has done stuff like this. So it's just really exciting. Adam Ottavino said some choice words to him yesterday after he lined into a ground out to end the game, which I thought was interesting. But Ohtani went out today and hit an RBI double and also won the game on the mound. So I think this is everyone understands how special this is and how good this guy is.
Adam Ottavino, wasn't he the one who also just kind of off the cuff said that he would probably strike out Babe Ruth if he faced him
he probably would.
last year? Yeah, but just kind of funny that it's just Ottavino at every turn there with regards to these two-way guys. Yeah, I don't know how much more needs to be said just about how good he is. If you don't know the name already, then what are you doing? Like, what are we gonna explain to you that nobody else that nobody else?
If you don't know the name
explain.
already, please don't vote in the All-Star game from here on out.
There's a lot of guys who just have not listened to that.
So how about this? How about we just let it be known.
Show me your talkies.
Exactly what he's been doing. 16 home runs since June 3rd. Today's July 7th, so it's a little over a month. If you didn't know, 16 home runs is a pretty darn solid baseball season as a hitter. And that's a month. So he had a good season in a month on the offensive side of things. And because of that, and everything leading up to that point, he will pitch and hit in the All-Star game. And people don't do that.
I want to know, like, what if he didn't get selected as a pitcher, what is stopping Kevin Cash from pitching him if he's on the All-Star roster?
There has to be some MLB rule that you can't like pitch a position player but I don't know. Uh, I read your question when you texted us that in the chat. I have no idea.
I have an interesting question. If Shohei Ohtani was not voted in as a pitcher, but pitched in the All-Star game, and it happens to be a blowout, is it fair game to swing against him 3-0 if he's a position player pitching technically? He's not voted in as a pitcher.
As long as Tony La
Where,
Russa's
where
not
do the
there.
unwritten rules lie on this very, very specific situation?
Wait,
These are the
why
real
would
questions.
you not be allowed to do that?
I don't think Rudy
Because
understood the
unwritten
question.
rules.
But what is it Tony Lewis related only? Is it the only context to it?
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much.
Random
I-
side note. Wait, just random side note related to that whole situation. Do you guys know that your mean Mercedes got sent down to AAA?
Promoted.
That's so sad.
Yeah, he's been apparently really bad for the last month and a half.
I choose to remember only when he was good. Anyway, continue, Farbod.
They sent him back to the Pecos League.
I was just gonna say I'm pissed off for one reason, and that's I didn't put any money down on Ohtani being the MVP this year, even though I picked him in our beat the shift predictions, and I also remember talking to you guys and some of my friends about it. It was like, this is the first year he's gonna be given full go as a pitcher and hitter, and if the pitching works out, obviously I didn't foresee 31 home runs before the All-Star break, but we know what that can do, and if the pitching works out, that's what definition of most valuable means. And he had some insanely low odds to win it, so I probably would have made some pretty good chunk of change if I put any bit of money down on him being MVP.
Mm-hmm. Shoulda, woulda, coulda.
Shoulda, woulda, coulda,
You
man.
believed in him more than most. I'll give you that.
I'll take it.
Yeah. So there are other All Stars
Oops.
that'll be participating in this game. I know it doesn't sound like it. Not much of that interests people quite as much. But on the American League side, Shohei's teammates, as they'll be referred to from this point forward. The starting side of things, I don't think there's much contention outside of maybe Teoscar Hernandez getting a starting outfield spot.
Yeah, what's up with that?
He's having a great year.
Is
but
it?
He's having a pretty good year. Some of the other outfielders in the American League you could argue for, particularly Cedric Mullins with the Orioles.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest part when you talk about fan voting is that before voting opened, we knew Mike Trout was not going to be available for the All-Star game, and he is still voted in as a starter when there are much more deserving players who will be attending the All-Star game and playing in the All-Star game who could probably use that nice little bonus on their contracts.
Right, but they will be all-stars if Trout gets replaced, which he will. I imagine Cedric Mullins will end up starting the game in center field, in center field instead of Mike Trout. It'll all get rectified by the time that comes around.
I feel like 3 Blue Jays starters is a lot for a team with 3 games over 500. And Simeon and Vladdy are obviously deserving. Simeon, but it just feels like a lot of all-stars for a team that could easily finish the season under 500 at this pace.
The Blue Jays are maybe the most interesting team in baseball, given, like you said, the talent that they have on the position player side of things. And even their starting rotation, not the worst thing out there, but the rest of their pitching just really doesn't get it done.
I just realized
that's with as many All-Stars as they have. Yeah.
I just realized the American League starters is the American League East plus the Angels and Royals. Because it's the Red Sox, Blue Jays, and Aaron Judge, the Yankees, and then 2 Angels and a Royal. I'm happy Salvador Perez made it. He's doing great.
he is far and away the best catcher in the American League this year. Mike Zunino got the reserve spot, and probably my favorite catcher to watch right now, if nothing else, just because of his awesome stat line this year, his 3 true outcome stat line, is injured now. To me, finding this out from our preparation document for 4 to 6 weeks with a torn knee tendon. That's Yasmani Grandal with the White Sox, by the way. Mr. 3 true outcomes. And that's a bummer. I would have loved to see him make an all-star team. But,
Yeah.
not that egregious.
The Tampa Bay Rays broadcast was talking about Zanino making the All-Star game, and they put up a stat line of his next to Salvador Perez. He said, well, Salvador Perez has hit 20 homers and 329 at bats. Zanino's hit 18 in 178. So I see the sentiment, the point that they're trying to make, but I don't see the comparison there between clearly the best offense, clearly the best American League catchers this year.
I think Zanino made it because he is the only Tampa Bay Rays representative at the All-Star game.
That is wild.
He is.
Yeah, well, Glasnow's hurt, so I assume that
Glasnow didn't even get voted in and then replaced.
Yeah, but I mean, this is by players, so players and stuff like.
I guess so.
Yeah, I don't know.
They
didn't vote in Shane Bieber though, who's not going to be ready.
I'm going to skip over to the National League before you ask us. I'm happy Buster Posey is back. Being Buster Posey is in the All-Star game. I don't feel as old anymore.
Well, you should feel old, first of all. But yeah, I'm with you. A year of rest with that COVID season seems to have done him and the Giants' entire roster really well. So we'll see. Second half, you got a whole half of the season to play. We'll see if that can sustain with a division, including the Dodgers and the Padres. Yeah, I guess we're cross-pollinating here with the American and National League discussions. Well, okay. Any other American League reserve players that you want to call attention to as being particularly noteworthy?
I'm gonna let someone else go.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll help Farbod out. Jared Walsh being an all-star is pretty good. He's definitely deserved it this year. Starting pitchers, there's a lot to choose from. Nathan Eovaldi stands out because he had the solid year. I don't know about a all-star caliber year. Chris Bassett's had a very good year, and his name isn't there. All the Yankees' favorite pitcher right now, Aroldis Chapman, is all-star. So that's fun. Yeah, I think the American League is pretty solid in my opinion. The National League is where you get some questionable picks from fans and players.
So many Angel fans on Twitter are pissed off that Raisel Iglesias didn't get voted in, but Chapman did, and Iglesias has had a better year than Chapman in by all accounts.
Is that actually true? I know a lot has changed in the last week.
Yeah.
In terms of
if you're just talking about, if you're just talking about ERA, I think Iglesias has an ERA in the threes. Chapman's in the high fours.
Chapman's ERA is the high. Remember when Aroldis Chapman? We were talking about he hasn't given up a run yet, and it's mid-May or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, his ERA now is 4.71. It sneaks up on.
That's not helped by giving up 3 runs in 0 innings the other day.
Yeah.
Jared Walsh is gonna love saying hi to Chapman in Colorado this summer for the All-Star game. Hit that grand slam.
Yeah, that we can talk about that game when we embark into the Yankees' miserable. I don't even know what to call it. Misadventures. Aroldis Chapman, by the way, a 16.88 ERA in his last 7 games.
Amazing.
Yep, good stuff. But I will agree with Ray in that the American League side seems pretty reasonable in terms of the players that made it. I can't think of any snubs really, which might just speak more to how we can talk about this a little more broad scale too. How few players one stayed healthy throughout the course of the first half to deserve an all-star appearance, and two just have played well enough to do so. Like the pool of all-star candidates seems shallower than ever, at least in my opinion. On the top end, it's really good. The talent is great still. But I think a lot of that has to do with just the incredible amount of injuries this year. Maybe that's not actually the case. I haven't like gone into the numbers to see how like all-star reserve stats look compared to other years. But that's just how it seems. Does that track with you guys?
Yeah, I think so. I think there's a bit of a basically that mid to high tier kind of isn't there just because of a lot of injuries in terms of also reserves. I think too when you talk about no real snubs, I don't think there's like you could argue maybe because Zanino's the only guy for the Rays. You know, Austin Meadows has had a pretty solid year, but like who's Austin Meadows going to knock off of the outfield list? So like there's nobody on this list who is obviously better than the reserves. So I think the AL got it pretty much right.
Mm-hmm. And just some weird names that you would not expect coming into the season. You mentioned Eovaldi, Kyle Gibson, Yusei Kikuchi, Carlos Rodon.
Rodon.
How about those? How about those for all-stars? And all deserving.
Kikuchi, I don't think is insane. Like very talented. So is Rodon, we've talked about.
No, I mean all these are very deserving. It's just if you had to guess the AL All-Star pitchers
Kyle
at the
Gibson's
beginning of the
pretty
year,
insane.
you would not have picked Eovaldi, Gibson, Kikuchi, or even Rodon.
Eovaldi's, yeah, you're right. Eovaldi for sure.
But they're all very deserving.
Looking at the American League all-star roster, there's no one on this team that just like infuriates me why they made it, and there's not really anyone like you can make arguments or cases for a couple people, but there's not really anyone that like infuriates me or why they didn't make the team or voting wise. So I mean, like you said, I think the American League is a pretty good representation of the league's teams in terms of like their best players.
Yeah.
All right, let's get back to our bread and butter and complain.
Yeah, let's get to the weirdness. Let's get weird with it in the National League side. Our man crush, Adam Frazier, starting National League second baseman for the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Bruh.
Thoughts?
No.
If I can make one request for the YouTube video on this, just put the his baseball savant numbers up real quick and show like how fluky that slash line is. I mean, it is.
I'm gonna be honest. I probably won't, but
I know.
You should go check out our Instagram to see the not the blooper reel, the bloop reel from earlier this season that I made to showcase Mr. Adam Frazier, Statcast
this guy
darling.
is batting like 330 and has like over 800 OPS. So it all looks great to a casual fan, just seeing that stat line on the All-Star voting. But then when you watch him play and look at his underlying numbers, there's no way he should be hitting that well. And here he is going to start the All-Star game.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. He just hits the ball extremely softly, but he hits it where they ain't. And he does it in a way
that's usually right over the third baseman's head.
Yeah, if opposite field flares that go for extra base hits. That's the recipe.
That's slugging percentage right there.
He has 24 doubles this year. I want to know how to do
Yeah.
that. People talking about how to shift or how the shift is changing baseball. Maybe people should start shifting and playing Rover against Adam Frazier. Maybe, just maybe, and we'll see how that goes. That's definitely the weirdest one on here for sure.
Yeah.
But again, like second base in the National League, nobody's that
Yeah.
like,
Even
that far
yeah,
ahead.
Albies numbers aren't great, but he's still a better player than Adam Frazier.
Yeah, Cronenworth as well, and
Yeah.
especially of late.
Cronenworth did not make
He's made a
the
very recent
Cronenworth
push.
did not make the final 3 for the starters.
He probably would have won it too. But I kind of love to see that. That's what's depriving people of the San Diego Padre middle infield all-star duo or all-star starter duo, and yeah, it's pretty great. The rest of the
Why
starters,
Nolan?
yeah,
Why Arenado over Bryant
Or Turner.
or Turner?
Because fans dumb.
Fans dumb.
Yeah.
Nolan
Watching.
Arenado in St. Louis
Nolan Arenado is solid,
early.
but the numbers are.
Yeah,
Oh,
early
I'm not saying
thoughts
he was
on him
bad. I'm
leaving
just
Coors.
saying he's great. He's still a great player. I'm not saying he's bad by any means. I'm just saying Chris Bryant's having a great year too. So I guess I have to go and look at the third base vote and see how close that was because I don't see like where Bryant fell off and did deserve the starting spot over Arenado.
Turner, I know, came in second. He was like 1% behind Arenado for the starting spot, and now he's not in the All-Star game because the Diamondbacks suck, and Eduardo Escobar is the only guy who is okay for them. So
Yeah, you hit on another big one in the National League side of things is the Diamondbacks' predicament for getting an All-Star in there. So there you have it, Eduardo Escobar. Yeah, nothing
Bro.
else too weird. A lot of Dodgers in here, but probably deservingly
yeah,
so.
no Dodgers pitchers, which is interesting. No Bueller, no Kershaw, no Jansen, which I don't necessarily mind. Being in Colorado,
Surprised no
to
Kershaw.
save their arms.
The National League
'Cause-
pitching has been
It
incredibly
is pretty stacked, I will say.
Yeah, but
I would say
feel
that
like
I
at
would say the
some
most
point you
egregious
get-
one might be Jansen. Jansen's been a top guy in the National League. Outside of the first 3 weeks of the season, he's like
the reason I
first
say
in
I'm
most
surprised.
categories outside of saves, just because Melanson has a bunch more.
The reason I say I'm surprised that there's no Kershaw isn't necessarily that he's better than any of the pitchers who were chosen, but more so because I feel like at some point, if you're hurt, if you're doing bad, whatever, you're still going to get a lot of votes because of who you are, what you've done with the game. And I'm not saying that's like good for the All-Star game. Obviously, you want the best of the best and the guys who are doing better to be representing your league, but that's the only reason I'm saying I'm surprised there's no Kershaw. Just because I figured like the votes would still be there.
Yeah, I would have thought so too. But the names that are there, Corbin Burns, Yu Darvish, DeGrom, Gosman, Marquez,
Who?
Trevor Rogers for Miami having an awesome year, Zach Wheeler, and Brandon Woodruff. So no complaints on that.
Some
on that
real
side of things.
schlubs.
Some real schlubs.
Maybe they changed the sticky stuff rules for a reason with that cast. He wonders
Wait, what?
if Adam
What?
Frazier is starting at second base. I mean, I feel like that says quite a bit about the state of the balance between pitching and offense.
Yeah.
Adam Frazier is every boomer's wet dream of what a guy should do to beat the shift, which is just go the other way, and it's somehow working out.
Beat the shift.
Roll credits.
Oh boy.
Well
I'm
played.
I'm all starred out at this point. I don't know about you
Yes.
guys. Well, okay. I say
But
that.
what about the
We're gonna
All-Star?
stay in the weekend.
What about the All-Star festivities, like
We
the
got-
home
we
run
Yeah,
got
we're
this-
derby?
saying the weekend.
What is the home run derby, which is going to be, it has to be like the best home run derby just because that Coors Field. That first of all is just going to make it amazing. The field of home run derby participants so far outside of Shohei Ohtani, not as impressive as maybe I would have hoped. You at least have Trevor Story, the best Rocky, who's
I'm
going to put on the
excited for
show.
Matt Olson.
Matt
Pete
Olson,
Alonso's not bad either.
he mashes. Pete Alonso, he won it, right?
He's been
Yeah, Pete Alonso is the
he's been in
defending
home
champ.
run derbies.
defending.
Yeah, he's been solid.
And he's massive, sure. Trey Mancini, great story, love it. Hits the ball super hard. Salvador Perez, people love him, good stuff. But these aren't the
All of
they're
these-
not the guys though. They're not the guys that you want to see in
But-
Coors.
All of these guys know how to like. The thing about the Coors home run derby, I guarantee you MLB's gonna have sort of juice ball there anyways. In Coors, like all these guys know how to lift the ball. It just has to be lifted and then it'll go out. They have enough pop. I think overall it'll still be a fun home run derby. No miss it.
Yeah, but
But
I can't
I
help.
understand
I
your
can't help but be
disappointment.
annoyed.
Yeah, I understand your disappointment that guys like Aaron Judge or Stanton or like the big boppers that we're used to, not all of them are in this.
Yeah, I'm not even talking like even on the younger guys, right? Like Acuna, Tatis, Vladdy.
Tatis and
Vladdy
Vladdy
in
said
there,
they
yeah.
wouldn't do it, right?
I
Like
know they said they wouldn't, but you can still be upset if they don't. Or even just from the pure power, like Joey Gallo has to be.
Yeah, I need Gallo in a home run derby, man. Like I want to see that bat in that home in Coors. To be funny, they should have asked Nolan Arenado.
I
if
think
he
I
wants to come back.
honestly yes, like give me Nolan Arenado returning to Coors for a home run derby and just lighting it up, showing all the Rockies fans what they're missing. Rub it in their faces. But no, it's probably not happening. There's 2 more spots to fill, right? It's an 8-player home
two
run
more,
derby field.
2 more, and if assuming they want to go 4-4 from each league, the AL is complete with Olsen, Ohtani, Perez, and Mancini.
So they should do the best thing that's ever happened to the Dodgers and get Albert Pujols, or at least that's what Dodger fans are making it seem like on Twitter.
I mean, best 750K Dodgers ever spent.
Fair.
Yeah, we're probably gonna end up with like Jake Cronenworth and Eduardo Escobar, aren't we?
No, Adam Frazier, bro.
If he hits, his competition is if he hits a home run, then
He wins.
Then he wins. No, we're so mean to Adam Frazier. We love him. We love him. Yeah, but that's
Do we?
I speak for all of us. We love him. Okay,
We love the player. We don't necessarily love that he's the All-Star starter.
good dude. All right, now I'm for real. All start out. We are done with that. Rudy, cracks knuckles in the corner.
Cracked.
Ready to talk some trash right now about his own team. So, the Yankees. What the heck do they have to do to not be a 500 win record team? Because that is
Score
all
runs.
they can do.
Hit. Get on base. Not blow big leads. Get Garrett Cole an exemption to use sticky stuff again. I can keep going. Yeah, it's not trade.
You gotta let
who they trade
Chapman-
for? Who is that from?
LeCastro.
Tim
LeCastro.
LeCastro. Or Tim LeFastro.
So let's we can use that as a microcosm. The Yankees, who I think are last time I checked were second to last in the AL in runs, traded for an outfielder who hits under 200 joining an extensive list of outfielders they already possess who hit right hand and hit under 200. So it's a fascinating chess move that I would love to. I'm very
That's
excited to see
5D
how it
chess
plays
right
out.
there.
And the last thing I wanted to say before I hand it off back to you guys is, as much as I just roasted them, I honestly am not particularly upset about the season so far. Maybe I'm just in denial, but I think I have just unlimited faith in Cashman, and I don't know past firing the hitting coach realistically what you can do in a situation where just the entire team underperforms simultaneously, except for, I don't know, throw in the towel, maybe send in the minor leaguers and just kind of chill and go to vacation early, go to Tampa, early and just relax. So maybe let's just do that.
Do you think Cashman is gonna stay?
I
If this
think so. I don't
continues
think
for the rest of the
Steinbrenner
season,
seems that upset. I mean, I think Boone will probably be the scapegoat, which is fine. I mean, I thought he was a net neutral effect always. Probably we can disagree if you want to with that, but
I agree.
yeah, I mean, I guess, like, to be honest, and maybe this is ridiculously optimistic, but I don't really see why they still couldn't like make a second wild card. I don't feel like they're that out of it, and like obviously way below expectations. Like I think I had them winning the World Series, but I don't know. It's baseball. Gotta keep it
yeah, I
interesting.
mean, so on that note though, did you listen to what Hal Steinbrenner was saying in his press conferences?
Yeah, I mean, he said the usual owner BS.
Like it's not his fault, basically. Like, yeah, just scapegoating players, everyone else.
I mean, I guess
That
what I'm really trying to say is like I had the Knicks have like their best season in so long this year that like I understand like some of the New York mojo got shifted. There's only so much goodwill that can go around, so
A
pretty sure
soul
that's what
for a
happened.
soul.
Are you blaming the Yankee season on the Knicks being good?
I am, yes.
Somehow
Okay.
the Knicks are still responsible for New York fans' misery. Good.
It's a zero-sum game. You can't have all 60 at the same time. The Islanders almost made the Stanley Cup. I don't support the Islanders, but the New York team. I mean, there's only so much. The Mets are good. I mean, they're good. There's only so much mojo, that exists. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Yeah, I will say on the Cashman front, I mean, I'm not saying fire him right now, but he needs to build a better team. I mean, like Rudy's saying, there's a lot of right-handed bats that aren't huge average guys, and then you have like DJ LeMahieu and Aaron Judge from the right side, and yeah, that's kind of it. Like, it's not a very well balanced lineup. Um, the starting pitching depth is waning a little bit, which is kind of what we sort of expected with all the signings this year behind Garrett Cole. And then, yeah, they're just not playing well. Sometimes that is baseball; they're just not playing well. But they don't necessarily have a foundation that can keep them afloat for when a lot of guys get hurt or play poorly. It seems like they are a 500 team if they're not good, and then it's gotten really ugly as of late with the Chapman and Cole and all that stuff.
I mean, I think I don't disagree with anything you said, but I think just play devil's advocate. I mean, he basically constructed this team from like spare bits and like past. Okay, I guess obviously they paid Cole a lot of money. Obviously they trade for Stanton, but they just came off. I think they made 2 ALCSs in the past 5 years. Someone correct me if that's wrong off the top of my head. I think that's right though.
2 of the last 4,
And
yeah.
2 of the last 4. Thank you. And I mean, what you just said, once again, I don't disagree with you at all, but like it also like worked the hitting, like just to have them be a 3 true outcomes team. It worked in those 4 seasons pretty damn well. So like obviously it's his job to know like when that's gonna stop working and continuously adjust the roster. But like, I mean, once again, I'm not saying you're saying this at all, but like, I think on like I say Yankee fans, like they're kind of acting like this was so obvious and like we should have known that like all the guys would stop hitting tons of home runs when that's what they've been doing. And I can't like just totally blame Cashman that like a lineup construction that did work for like 4 years suddenly just like completely fell apart. Like there is like I think there is a degree of like bad, like unfortunate combination of injuries and decline simultaneously
I
that you
just
can't
don't.
totally control for.
What I don't get is, I mean, maybe I'm already overblowing it, but like Gleyber Torres is weird. Whatever happened to him, like it feels like every year, even if someone's not hurt, they're going through something. Like last year was Gary Sanchez, and like they're being downright just abysmal in that lineup. It's I don't know if it's Mojo or just hitting, or they're just not like consistent enough hitters, and this is the type of excessively long like hitting lows that they go through. But like that's always been a weird part of the Yankees that I've noticed over the last few years. A different conversation about like going forward with the Yankees. I was watching a conversation between Chris Rose and Trevor Plouffe, and I believe Aaron Judge is coming into his last year or two of arbitration. He's played 63% of he was healthy for only 63% of the games from 2018 to 2020. Um, what Chris Rose asked Trevor Plouffe was, is that a guy that you give a mega deal to? Are the Yankees gonna like look into trading him, or extending him long term? Like, what do you two like Yankee fans feel about Aaron Judge?
Well, there was a lot going on there. Um, we went on
I
a
got
roller
confused
coaster.
for a second.
We went on a roller coaster. Aaron Judge very good at baseball, and the Yankees don't trade away stars, even if it makes sense to. So no.
That's a good take, except for Alfonso Soriano.
If the Yankees are good next year, because I think next year is Judge's final year of arbitration.
Yes.
If the Yankees somehow are just not in contention next year, like maybe, even then it's only a maybe. But that's just not what the Yankees do. They're always at least in contention, so he's not getting traded.
That is key. Yankees are never seem to be sellers, so that's why they don't trade stars.
That is fair.
And if we trade him, we just sign him back immediately after they help the Cubs win the World Series. That's how we do it. All right? It's that simple.
And yeah.
But to unpack some of the other things that you said with regards to just incredible cold streaks from individual players and the term mojo as it applies to baseball. I think mojo,
Mojo.
if we can specify a
Has to be
little
the title
more.
of the podcast, right?
Mojo?
Yeah.
Mojo. If we can specify what mojo means, I would say it means everything that is not quantifiable by statistics. So whether that's StatCast data, whether that's actual production-based stats, defensive, offensive, base running, pitching, whatever. The Yankees don't have it, and that momentum carries. They don't have the mojo that, for example, the Red Sox do. The Red Sox are playing awesome baseball. Does it make sense on paper? Not really. It doesn't. They are just playing really, really good baseball at every turn. You can turn on a game and watch. They are athletic. They get the job done with seemingly just as weak pitching, maybe as potent a lineup, but guys that are just getting it done on both sides of the ball. They're just better baseball players than the Yankees have been. And some of these guys may be too one-dimensional in that when they're cold, they get ice cold. When they're not producing with the bat, they are black holes in terms of production. So I think that's where the biggest problem lies. Is it comes down to just playing better baseball even when you're not playing your best. They have not been doing that. 42 and 41, they're about to be 43 and 41 actually, it seems, unless they blow an 11-run lead right now to the Mariners in the ninth. Chapman, please.
Please.
That would be
Yes.
I don't even know what to say if he somehow managed that one. But it doesn't sound all that bad where they are right now, and that's why it's not crazy to say that they're in playoff contention, because they are. But so are a lot of other teams, and it really just comes down to when you look at the team, do you feel confident going into the second half of the year? Like, yeah, this is the team that can put the playoff run together and do better than these teams that are around the same spot as them, like the Angels, like the Mariners, like the Indians, like the Blue Jays. There's a lot of teams that are right around the same spot as them. Will they come out ahead of that pack? And even then, that puts them like barely in the second, not even in the second wild card spot. So they gotta even more work to do. They gotta leapfrog the Moneyball teams. They gotta leapfrog the Rays and the A's, really, to have a shot. So yeah, they have a shot. I don't feel confident. I don't. I need to see some sort of mojo shift. That's where I'm at. The panicking happens every year. Sometimes it seems ridiculous. This year it seems reasonable because there has been a lot of injuries and just some really bad baseball being played overall. It doesn't do it. For me anyway.
So what's your solution?
The solution,
Fire everybody.
fire, but no. I also even more to unpack. I think Cashman has the job as long as he wants it, or as long as he continues to do what he does, right? Like, he's still arguably the best at what he does and finding value. Okay, you know what? I just realized that we have not even gotten into like one of the biggest aspects of this discussion, and that revolves around Garrett Cole. So I'm gonna kind of like spare the rest of the solution talk. Like, they have to be active at the trade deadline, but I think it's going to be in a very Yankees way, that they're not going to get the marquee guy. I don't even know if we have prospects to trade for a marquee trade deadline.
We have a couple.
We have a couple, yeah. But I think it'll be more of the Cashman beautiful mind situation, where he will find players at great values, and they'll have to be good for us to have a chance. And at the very least, shake things up, bring some new energy, bring some mojo to the team. I don't know if Tim LaCastro was that, but he is very fast, and that's fun. So I like that. At the very least, they got a fast dude.
We're doomed.
We're doomed. Yeah, but Garrett Cole, for real, like, I don't think this is being overplayed at all. The effect that the use of stick has had on his game, and the impact of the largest starting pitcher contract ever being handed to him right before this point. So there's a lot to be worried about there, legitimately. I don't know what more discussion there is there. He's not been good since the crackdown.
I mean, can I add one more part to that?
Yeah.
It's just like, I mean, it's like it's you don't have to think about it that hard, because like he literally got to the team most infamous for their use of the sticky stuff, and that's when he became an ace. And so like the circumstantial evidence is quite egregious, and my man's had the greasiest hair I've ever seen in my life. And maybe it wasn't all moose.
You clearly have not watched Brandon Crawford play.
Okay,
they're related.
It's hereditary.
Are
they actually related?
One of them's dating the
way.
other sister. One of them was like married to the other sister. I forget who. But yeah, I was actually gonna bring up something very similar, Rudy. that not necessarily like this is a discussion point or anything, but I was just thinking of the timeline when I was looking over Cole's recent outings. When he was in his last year with the Pirates, he had a 4.76 ERA. The next year, all of a sudden, I'm sure you guys, if you turned on MLB Network at any point with the Astros, MLB Network was always talking about what's one of the reasons Garrett Cole's been so good this year. Well, look at his spin rate. Whatever the Astros formula is down there in Houston that's churning out these pitchers and boosting their spin rates, the Astros are just way ahead of the game. This is before the Astros cheating scandal came out with the trash cans and everything. And now that he's being told that he can't use it anymore, it's just so like sad but so funny also. Just like thinking about that timeline, thinking about how I mean, I'm sure all the teams had pitchers who used it, but Cole, it definitely benefited Cole the most.
Yeah, I don't think there was a bigger fall off in, you would say top pitchers when it came to the sticky stuff crackdown. I mean,
in terms of production.
You hate to say the same in this moment, but you look at Trevor Bauer starts after the sticky stuff crackdown, not too worse for wear, really. I mean, nothing as bad as Cole has looked, and I mean, he looks like the guy who like depended on that sticky stuff to have his pitching, his pitches be that good, whereas everybody else can sort of work around it and fallen off at maybe one tick or two, but he is fallen off a cliff since he cannot use the sticky stuff.
It's pretty concerning. I don't think that part of it's been overblown at all. And we just have to watch because they are Major League Baseball players, and even though this is a huge difference, it's always about making adjustments faster than the opponent can. So Garrett Cole is still really good at pitching, but he's gonna have to adjust quickly to get back to form.
Yeah, I don't think he's a 4 or 5 ERA pitcher. I think he's still probably in the 2s or 3s. I think he's still like an effective pitcher, but there's no way without the sticky stuff he'll be back in the 1s unless he's having a hot streak.
Yeah, and most likely not as quickly as this year in terms of
it seems too it's very psychological for him, the crackdown.
Yeah,
it seems very much in his head.
Which, just to wrap it up, and I don't want to be like this Cashman apologist only, but like you can't blame Cashman for that.
No,
I feel like.
Just not at all.
An example. I'm not saying you guys are doing that, but I feel like once again, like the narrative to go, why did you give this guy so much money? It's like, yes, he was supposed to know that they were going to change the rule, and that I mean, I just think that's a part of bad fortune that like.
Yeah, no, I mean
not as much to you guys. Yeah. Like people's narrative about this season is kind of like not like ignoring.
Just as a general point, I don't like when we judge moves based off the end result or current result when in the moment it was a correct move. Because there are times when bad moves were bad in the moment and they don't work out. But like, I mean, there's a lot of moves that happen that make a ton of sense and then they don't work out. So it was obviously like they shouldn't have done that, but that's not how it works.
Amen to that. All right, let's wrap that bit up, and we are just about done for today's podcast. A couple other little nuggets that I'll throw in here, just at the end of things. The Rays are going to be promoting Vidal Brujan, who is the third of their pretty prominent middle infield prospects. The biggest of which was Wander Franco, who is up and playing, and not off to an incredible start, but is still playing. So this other piece of their prospect puzzle will be joining, and he is very fast and steals lots of bases apparently. So that's a lot of fun. Speaking of fast guys,
just Rudy like asked for him to be called up the second we mentioned Franco on this podcast. He said now call up Vidal Brujan. So you're welcome, Rudy.
Yeah.
Yes.
And another thing that I think is fun, I think everybody should think is fun, is that the Brewers acquired Rowdy Tellez from the Blue Jays. So they now have both Dan Vogelbach and Rowdy Tellez. That's a beefy duo right there. We love our beefy duos in baseball. The Toronto Thick Jays have since moved on from that title. Vladdy trimmed it down a little bit. They no longer have Tellez. Alejandro Kirk, where is he? He's not really playing much. So yeah, maybe the Brewers can take the mantle now. And yeah, Brett Phillips, this is going to be the last thing, had probably the weirdest
fun.
position player pitching outing that I've seen. And just in
That was
terms
the
of
best.
how he delivers baseballs to a catcher.
Man, looks like a kid who's like first playing kid pitch in a little league. It's like, this is how you pitch. You step straight forward and don't.
I'm
care
going to be
about it all.
honest, I didn't do
He
that in
got
kid
called for a
pitch.
balk.
I think he threw
He dropped the
94.
ball.
If for anybody who doesn't know, he's basically standing straight at you, like you would out of the stretch, but instead of
Out of the windup.
or out of the windup, sorry, and instead of turning and doing a standard leg lift and delivery, just lifts the leg right at you with some funky movement in there while staring you in the face, and steps directly towards home plate and lets it fly. I think he released a few around 50 miles an hour. So,
And 94.
yeah, he just lets it fly at any speed. And yeah, and he's just a quirky dude.
Sprinted in from the bullpen.
Sprints in, like anything that was put in play, like whips around to watch it with the utmost. It's hilarious. That's what I have to leave you guys with. If you haven't seen it, please watch Brett Phillips pitch. I hope that the Rays have some more blowouts that they can use him in. So yeah, that is going to do it for our podcast today, though. Thank you everybody for hanging with us this long. If you did, go ahead and leave a review, rate us wherever you're listening, leave a comment. I think you can do that in a lot of places, definitely on YouTube. So yeah, we want to know what you think. And like I mentioned at the top of the show, follow us at BeatTheShiftBP on Twitter, not Twinner, Facebook, and Instagram. That's the best place to get in touch with us. We wanna hear from you guys. That's the moral of the story. And beattheshiftbaseball.com for everything, podcasts, articles, anything else that we have. It's all there. So yeah, that is gonna do it for today. We'll be back next week, and we'll be back with some more non-podcast content too once we're all settled in a bit more. So we appreciate you guys listening, and until next time, thanks everybody. As always, Farbod.
Peace.